So then, okay, so for you starting Rebel Girl, when did Mayo come into the picture and start working into that? Because for me, whenever I explain that, like, my stepsister has a period-proof underwear company and her husband sells period-proof underwear too, people are like, what?
Yeah, okay, but that's not how you word it. You're always like, so my stepsister's husband, Kate, picture this. He's a beautiful black man.
Okay, yes, I do say that. Like, picture this beautiful black man selling period-proof underwear to hordes of, like, young white women.
Yeah,
not even always young. Like
not even always young.
Yeah.
The older ones actually really like him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so how and when did Mile come into the picture? Not just like in your life, but of like starting to work together on this project.
So I guess it was just like really pretty much like when we started dating, just like
That's when
right
you kind of
from the
started
beginning.
giving me business advice.
Yeah.
Why don't you start off by saying what kind of your background
what's
is?
your
Okay.
Yeah,
okay,
totally.
So
First of all, who are you?
Who are you?
I'm Mayo. And I'm the beautiful black man. But yeah, no, my background is in business, and that's what I went to school for, and then also sales. So like anything selling, I'm like I love to do. I just love to sell to
Which is
people
just
and
like
talk to
so
people.
mind blowing to me. I'm just like, but also so amazing.
Yeah. So that's all. That's like, I don't know, the way I always take it is just like, how can we like create something from this, and then how can we like sell to people, like just that process. And then when we started dating, and I found out, well, I kind of knew. Okay, we met on Tinder, and one of the things that got me like interested was in her bio. She's like boss babe or something, or boss busy bee, boss babe or something like that. And in one of her pictures, I could see like she was like in her studio, and I was like, ooh, yeah, like a business person. I was like, okay. Anyway, obviously it worked out because now we're married. So, but yeah, like, and then when we first started dating, we kind of just, I would kind of find out a little bit more about like what you were doing, and then maybe when we were hanging out, I would hang out in the studio with you or whatever.
Yeah.
Actually, a lot of that time was a little bit kind of like fuzzy for me.
Yeah, it was a lot of like, I'd be like, oh, I have this like business idea, like this is what I want to do, and then he would kind of like give me like little like tips, like, oh, like, and I was a terrible salesperson. Like I would be like doing markets and like,
Typical artist, though.
do you want to buy my underwear? Like super, just like feeling super awkward. Like especially when you're the one like making it. Like I did everything at that time, and it was like you're just like putting your heart and soul on the table, and you're just like, do you want it?
And you're so terrified of rejection.
Yeah, so terrified. I wouldn't even say hi to people. I'd wait till they say hi to me. You know, like it was just, not the best.
Yeah, but I guess like initially it was just like little pointer things, and then I started kind of seeing that you were doing the markets, and then getting involved in that, and then there was like a bunch of like visa stuff that.
Yeah, that was the trigger for like when you really started working.
Yeah, with the Rebel Girl. So initially it was kind of like on and off.
Yeah, you would just at first do markets with me.
Yeah.
He would come, that was actually the first thing. He would just like one day, he was like, can I come work a market with you? And I was like, you want to? Like, okay. I would like, at that point, because it was like, I would always get someone to come do it with me, and I was always like, begging a friend to like please come
that's
spend,
right.
like,
and I was like, why don't you just let me do it with you? Like,
because I feel like I went to visit you at markets.
Yeah.
With like, you'd always have like a girlfriend there
Someone,
with you.
just because it's like, it kind of just sucks doing it by yourself, and like then you're like really stuck at your booth if you're by yourself. So I'd always have someone, but I was always like just trying to get some friend to like give me 4 hours on a Saturday, please. Yeah. And then one day he's like, can I just come do it with you? And I was like, please.
Yeah. So then
And you probably sold
And then
more
the
than
sale,
you
the sales were
Yeah,
actually, it was
immediately.
immediately. The first time he came, I sold more in a day than I had ever sold. And I was like, you're doing every market.
I was like, yeah,
Literally.
and then there were some things that she was saying and like the way she would interact, and I was just like cringe. I was like, oh, like short circuiting. I'm like,
But
And
it's still too new to really.
yeah, exactly. I couldn't really like
Yeah.
stop, like you know, like that kind
Yeah.
of thing.
Just push her out of the way.
Yeah, like, let me do this.
You're like, I need to marry you first, and then I can do that.
Oh my
And yeah, so it was just kind of, I think after the first time I was just like, okay, there's a couple things we need
Yeah.
to change. We need to come up with a script, like
Yeah,
at least have a sales process. And I basically just like help you build that, and then we just use that and continue going. And it was just like more and more and more and
Yeah.
more sales, and then and then our goal was a G day.
Yeah.
So
Oh my
remember
gosh,
how
I
how
remember
much
that.
we were always like, and that's like
That was like
Like a
insane.
G-day.
yeah, G day. So
I
it's
had a
like
G-day. I had a G-day today.
Oh, hey.
yeah.
That's good.
So we were just like, oh, we have to like that was it. It was always like a couple $100, you know, like $600-700, and I was like, we have to hit a G, like
Yeah.
we have to. And then we just like hit it, and then we just like kept hitting it, and
Yeah.
I don't know, and that was kind of how that went. But then I started having some like visa stuff where I was trying to figure out like how I'm gonna stay in Canada.
From UK?
Yeah,
Okay.
because that's where I'm from. I'm from the UK.
Despite no accent.
Yeah.
I grew up there, spent most of my life there. I think next year I would have spent 50% of my life in there and here, like from from the UK to Canada. I think so, yeah, something like that, or maybe the year after, something like that. Anyways,
But pause. You also grew up in
Yeah,
Iceland,
I also don't have
and
an
you also
accent.
don't have an accent. So
We fool everyone.
Yeah.
very like covert.
yeah.
Yes. We are.
But yeah, so I was trying to figure that out, and then at that point it couldn't work. So then I just kind of stayed, like I hung out with you, like, and then that was when I was really involved in Rebel Girl and the day-to-day, like there every day type of thing. And then my visa came through, and it got to the point where like I was so involved in like helping push it and grow it. I was like, I can't just leave now. Even though like it was still like way back then, it was, I feel like my role was almost like
It was. I like told him, I was
established
like, you can't
You
go
can't-
get a job. Like,
Yeah.
even though he had a job lined up,
yeah.
that was when the dealership was like, come back.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you remember?
The car dealership.
The
Yeah.
car dealership.
So like literally 2 days before I lost my visa, I got a job. Well, not 2 days, but like about a week before I lost my visa, I got a job at a car dealership. Because I just walked in and asked, and then I told them.
Literally.
That concept is so. I'll just call the government.
Okay,
I'll just
no.
walk
He
in
did
and
not
ask.
walk in and ask. He was delivering food.
Yeah.
Because he was driving Skip the Dishes.
Yeah. So yeah, because that's right. Because I was selling door to door during the summer
Alarms.
and alarm systems, and I was like, I kind of don't want to do this anymore. So I was like, I got to do something to kind of bridge the time while I figure out like what I want to do. And then I delivered to a couple car dealerships, and I was like, I wonder what it would be like selling cars. So like this one time,
Thought no one ever.
I was like, okay, I think this could be like a cool new like adventure. So I delivered to like this Lexus dealership, and then I delivered to the front desk, and I was walking on, and I was like, I'm gonna go back in. And I was like, go back in, and I asked for the general manager, and I'm like, hey, can I speak to the general manager, or can I speak to a manager? He's like, oh, the manager's not in, but the general manager's here. So then the guy, I'm like, well, can you get him out? He comes out. I'm like, hey, my name, blah blah blah. Like, I'm wondering, like, do you guys ever have any openings for like selling cars and stuff? And he's like, oh yeah, you know, we kind of have rotations, but we're not really hiring right now. I'm like, well, I mean, I'd love to like talk to someone about like working, because this is something that I'm really good at, and not like selling cars, but like sales.
Just
Yeah.
sales.
So he's like, okay, well, come to my office. So we go to my office. I have like a really brief conversation, and then I think like just because like I spoke to him, or maybe it was a lot like luck or whatever, the over like there's like the general manager, but then there's another manager above him who oversees like
Regional.
regional something, and she happened to be there, so they brought her in. They brought her into the office and like we spoke, and she's like, okay, well, come back in a week. We'll do an interview with you, but just like, and I was wearing just like jeans and a t-shirt. She's like, just wear a suit. And I'm like, okay, I've got a suit.
Yeah.
Right. So I go back, and then they interview me, and then they offer me the job like right on the spot. And then she was like, you know what, you've come from door to door. We've never hired anyone from door to door, but don't feel bad if you don't sell anything like your first day.
I love this.
Right, or your first month, and I was like, sure, like it's a new thing, so of course, like I might not sell, and then I come back, and the very first day, like the one thing that I was like, this feels like it'll be a little bit easier because door to door you're interrupting people from like they're making their KD or sitting there watching Game of Thrones or whatever.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and then
true.
you're like, knock, knock, let me sell you an
leave me
alarm,
alone.
right? But the people are coming into a dealership because they're somewhat interested.
For a reason.
Right?
Yeah.
For a reason. So then I'm like, this should be kind of like a little bit easier. That was my mindset anyway. So first day, I'm just kind of like looking, watching people, what they're doing, like what they're saying, kind of like shadowing people, but standing in and around the region so I can hear what they're saying, but obviously not like interacting with their sale or their customer or whatever. And then I was like, I feel like I can do this. So I started just like talking to people, and I didn't know anything about the cars. They gave me like a brochure. I hadn't read it yet. I was like talking about stuff. I just like repeated a couple things some guy said, and I was like, okay. And people were like, oh, okay, cool. And I pitched a couple people. Then there was just one chick who came in, and she was just like walking around, and nobody walked up to her. So I was like, okay, well, fine. So I went up and started talking to her. She's like, not interested in buying a car, but I'm just looking, like, find your thing. I walk up, I come back, I'm like, hey, this car actually has this, and start spouting off all the information that I heard some guy say. And she's like, oh, okay. She's like, oh, you seem really nice. Like, I came over here because she just came from like a Volvo dealership or something, and the guy was so rude to her, and the car didn't even have a spare tire in the car. And I was like, that's so weird. I'm like, this one has a spare tire. And she's like, oh, sweet. I'm like, go to test drive it. I'm like, I've never even gone through that process. She's like, yeah, sure. I'm like, then I go, I'm like, I asked my coworkers, I'm like, what do I do? Like, she wants to test drive the car. She's like, okay, you need to sign this out, you need to take this license plate, you need to get her stuff. Anyway, get through the process, test drives the car. I heard someone say that the car has like this like active, wheel thing, and I'm like, it's got this stuff, and I'm like, you can do this in it, and like as we're driving, and I'm like, push this corner, and she's like doing it, and she's like, oh, it feels good. I'm like, so can you see yourself in the car? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, sweet, well, let's go back. And we're just talking about it and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, end of story, I end up selling her, and she buys the car for cash.
What?
Yeah, she
that
just
was
like
your first day on the job.
Yeah, my
Very
first day, and she buys the car cash, which is like the most commission you can get off of a car sale.
Right.
From this place that I was working at, and then the next day I sell again, and then the day after that I lost my visa.
And so for 6 months, while he had no visa, they kept contacting him, and like, as soon as you get your visa, you have a job. Like, come back to us.
Yeah. So the crazy,
because no one had ever sold on their first day,
and then on the second day,
and then on their second day.
But also, like, I bet you no dealership has ever hired their lunch delivery person.
Nope,
no,
probably
and
not.
Then
they end
sell
up
2 cars
like right off the
a
bat.
week later.
That's
It's just like so
You're probably
nutty.
just like this, like, urban myth.
they're like this beautiful black man came in.
He delivered our lunch.
And then he sold the cars.
And then everyone's like, yeah,
And it probably just turned into
Right.
like he came in and delivered lunch and then sold 2 cars on the spot.
And-
Yeah, that's
bounce.
probably what it'll turn
And
into.
bounce.
Yeah, and then
Just to show us
walked
all.
out.
She's like, oh my word.
Oh my
Your
goodness.
You're fully
But
in
yeah.
urban legend.
Yeah.
Oh
But yeah, so that was when I was like,
You were
so
stuck at home.
yeah, so I was
you
stuck
didn't
at
have a
home
visa.
because I couldn't work, and then because it was technically illegal for me to do that. So when I got the visa,
We're not saying he worked. Wow.
no, I
Right.
was just hanging out.
You've always
He
hanging out.
volunteered
You're allowed
for
to
Rebel
go.
Girl.
Yeah, that's
You're
right.
allowed to volunteer.
Yeah.
So yeah, but then at that point it was like 6 months. I was like, volunteering with the Rebel Girl, and yeah, it was. I started getting really, really passionate about it.
Yeah.
I really didn't know anything about like menstruation or periods or like the product or anything like that, and just learning more about it and obviously like falling in love with you and getting to know you more and all that. Like I was just like, I can't leave this. But it was that awkward moment where it was like I could still just get a job, because it's hard to really like leave everything else and then just
We
do
were
this
also
one
really
thing.
broke at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
still
the
kinda
So
struggle
it
is
was like
real.
we literally were like, okay, he could have like a salary job where he's getting like really good commission on selling cars.
Yeah.
Or we can live off of rice and beans and make this business work.
Yeah.
And thankfully
We chose
the business, but it was
Yeah.
really like it was
It was
tough
actually
to be
really hard.
It was really tough to be like,
It was
okay.
weeks of like being like, should I go back? And they were emailing me like every other day,
yeah,
so
like
it was like a
all
lot
the
of
time.
pressure. Because I
Right.
told them, because what happened was, when I lost my visa, I had to tell them I lost my visa, and then they're like, well, we can't pay you if you don't have a visa,
Right.
right? So I was like, so once I got my visa back, then I contacted them saying, hey, I've got it, let me get paid.
Right.
Right, from 6 months prior, and then they're like, "Oh wait, you've got your visa now." I'm like, "Okay, well, come back." And they were like trying to up it. They're like, "What, what
Yeah.
can we like, what can we incentivize you with?" And I was like, "Well, I just said I'm running a business and it's like really successful now, so I can't like leave." Even though I was like freaking out.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's crazy.
But yeah, that was like, and then that's how I got involved with Rebel Girl, and then just since then I've just, and then basically what I do now is more, obviously like more the business side, more finance, I think, because that's what my degree is in finance, and so I do like a lot of the accounting and stuff like that, fundraising, and then I do ads for a company.
But you occasionally sew.
I mean,
not
like,
really.
And
like
you
if
also
it
do
meets,
all of the cutting.
yeah, and then all of the cutting
You do
as well.
all of the cutting.
Of many, many, many hundreds and thousands of pairs. But yeah, do all the cutting for that as well. Yeah, and I think
That's so crazy.
that's it.
And how many people do you guys have working for you now?
So we have 1, 2, 3, 3 people. It's definitely been like up and down and all over the place, but like 3 solid people right now.
Yeah.
We just found out that our social media person, she lost her visa.
Oh,
Yeah.
So she has to go back to
She's
the
moving back to the UK.
But she's gonna work remotely because she's like that good.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
and the team is
And
there.
thankfully, she's a social media person, so it's like all online
Right.
based
Anyways.
work.
Yeah.
So it's okay, and we're just gonna do like FaceTimes every Monday. And,
Yeah.
And just have her work remotely until
Do
we
you think
can
the time
hire
difference
her.
will make a difference? Like when you post?
No, well,
No, 'cause
she schedules it all.
Schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we
it's,
have so she sends like a report every week, and then like this is what I'm gonna be posting, and then we just approve it,
yeah.
and then that's it.
Great.
Yeah.
So it's all
She's done
scheduled and it posts, but then what she does is mostly is like contacting influencers to grow the business, and then also she'll like answer messages and like all that kind of stuff, and then she does she does the newsletters, some branding stuff as well. So
Wicked.
yeah.
Well, not Wicked.
Not Wicked, but she'll be back.
Yeah, she'll
She'll be
be
back.
back.
She's
Okay.
gonna
Like that,
come
she wants to.
when-
I
come
remember
back.
when you found her and how stoked you were.
Yeah.
For sure.
She's so great, and when we can, right now, because she's just part time, so we're gonna be within this year, she's gonna move into a full time position, and then we'll be able to essentially sponsor her as employers.
Yeah.
When we hire her on full time, but figure it out.
Wicked. Yeah, well, that's what we do. What I loved about both your stories, though, you're like, I just called the government. And it's just like, I just asked them. And like, that's such like a common thread of like entrepreneurial ness. And people who are like, oh, I want to start my own business, but like they just never do it.
Yeah.
And it's just that like, I just called the government. And like, that's nuts to me.
Yeah.
But also, it's just like the most simple concept to like ask to get, and I feel like I try and tell my employees that a lot. Like, if you want something, you want to make a connection, you want something to happen, like ask. What is the worst that can happen? Like, you get zero response or you get a no. Yeah. But like, you could also just like walk into a dealership and sell a car.
Ask, No. I also find like we're in a time where things are so accessible to us. Like, I knew nothing about starting a business when I started Rebel Girl. Yeah. I just Googled everything. Yeah. Everything from how to register my business, how to, like, get the name, the business number, the GST, like, all of it. Somebody asked me the other day, they're like, how did you know, like, how to do it? I was like, Google. Like, literally, just Google it. Like, there are so many places. And that's the thing. There are so many podcasts. I listened to so many podcasts when I started because I was like,
you got the time.
I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah, you got the time. So
and that for me, like, I always say, well, not always, but like I say that right now we're actually in a time where, like, I don't think school is like irrelevant. I definitely think that there's a lot of positive things, not so much like the education aspect, but more like, you know, the communal sort of like, you know, interpersonal building those skills,
it's a
networking, all of that. I think that is super, super valuable. But I also think that there's probably 95% of the things that you will actually learn at school you can just find online, for free. Yeah. And you can just teach yourself. The only thing is like discipline and structure. I guess the school structure.
Yeah. And for me, like, I didn't even know you could just start something.
Yeah,
like
I feel like
laughter. But if you have that knowledge, you know, I'm just gonna do it. Like, I wouldn't have gone.
Yeah.
But I didn't know. I had no idea.
Yeah.
No. I enjoyed school.
No, definitely. I'm not saying that school is bad.
Yeah.
I'm just like, stay in school.
But I'm like, I made it in school, so I'm like, I feel like I'm a little biased.
Well, you could
I
have
done it without school.
Yeah.
But
Maybe not without.
No, without. I don't know.
Like, because I feel like there's a lot of like practical things in your field,
especially
like
in my
that
field.
kind of thing.
I don't think. Well, probably not in the realm that I was going in.
Yeah.
Like,
I like that mindset though, like, because I don't know if you had that mindset, but you started something in school and it became kind of your career.
And the interesting thing is, like, school gave me all of the technical skills to create my product. Mm-hmm. School gave me none of the skills to sell my product.
Yes,
like none,
of course.
whatsoever, because it was just fashion, design, and technology. That's it. Right. Not what to do with that product. Yeah. And like we briefly talked about like marketing and stuff like that, but you know, when it's like actually like starting a business, it's literally zero. Mm-hmm. So it was a definite learning curve.
Where like I think if I would have, if I could like redo it, let's make sure we're still recording. If I could redo it, I would have started like having the mindset I'm going to start my career in school. Not like I'm going to pass school, learn these things, and then I'll figure it out. Yeah. Like I would have started a YouTube channel or something. Yeah. Like legit use that. I took video and film. Right. So like I would have had all that gear, and then it would have made every project like one step closer to my actual career. Yeah, instead of now I'm graduated. Now what? Yeah. Because that was literally what it was. Like our career counselor was like, "There's a posting on Craigslist." I was like, "I know. I was there this morning."
But then again, I don't know if you could go back and would you like if you could tell your 18-year-old self to do that?
But we could be telling lots of 18-year-olds. It's kind of like when I'm like,
yes, that's very true.
We're telling them now.
Yeah, go start a business
in school.
In school,
while your parents are paying for it.
While your parents are paying for it. Yeah.
I think that's like super valuable because like one thing that you have said several times that like really sticks with me is that school, that structure again, right? Like school gave you all of that, like where it was a project that you had to write. You had to determine your target market.
Yeah,
it was a
do all
project
the
where you had to
research.
do this. You had to do all this research. So basically, you built your business in school,
Yeah.
which is where like like I feel like a lot of other kinds of
Yeah.
things that we do, like with finance, like learning personal finance and like corporate finance, all those things, learning how to be that for a business.
Yeah.
It's like now I kind of know what to do in my business, and I think like just like you were saying, a lot of people should take their schooling kind of like as this thing, like, well, this is where I kind of want to go. How can I leverage what I'm doing
Yeah,
to
kind
bring me
of
there?
like an incubator. Like start
Yeah.
thinking of
Exactly.
school as like
As-
this is your incubator.
Yeah.
But instead of them giving you funding, I think that's how an incubator works. But I haven't that.
You're paying them, yeah.
Yeah, you're
but,
paying
like,
them.
Yeah.
If that mindset is like sick.
But you're getting like basically like advice in every corner. Like when I was doing my project, Rebel Girl, it was like everything was critiqued. You know,
Right.
everything, every
By
step
people
of
who
it, by
kind of
people
know what
who,
they're
yeah,
talking about,
people who
to
had
some
been in the
extent,
retail
yeah.
industry, had been, knew the supply chain, knew all that stuff. So it was all critiqued, which is like, I'm sure worked out a lot of the kinks.